The Japanese assassin, known for tearing through the Japanese boxing scene with ruthless precision, finally met his match. The monster, Naoya Inoue, was the one to put an end to the reign of terror that had plagued his people. But the real shocker came after the fight. Inoue dropped a bombshell that has the entire boxing world buzzing. He's considering taking his destructive talents outside of Japan, with a potential showdown in none other than Sin City itself. The stage is set for what could be the most explosive move of his career. Japan's Naoya Inoue, who holds the undisputed super bantamweight world champion title, successfully defended his belts against Ireland's Doheny in a fight that took place on Tuesday in Tokyo. Inoue, known by his nickname Monster, secured the victory in the 7th round after landing a series of powerful body shots that left Doheny injured and unable to continue. Inoue, who is 31 years old, extended his undefeated record to 28-0, with an impressive 25 of those wins coming by knockout. This was his second defense since becoming the undisputed champion last December. Notably, Inoue is just the second fighter to become the undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes during the 4-belt era, which began in 2004. The first was American boxer Terrence Crawford. The match took place at Ariake Arena in Tokyo, marking Inoue's return to the ring where Inoue was knocked down for the first time in his career. However, against the 37-year-old Doheny, Inoue remained in control throughout the fight. He faced a cautious opponent, but managed to break through with some hard body shots as the fight went on. Appearing to injure his hip, he was unable to continue and had to be assisted out of the ring by his team. Doheny, who was previously the IBF Super Bantamweight World Champion from 2018 to 2019, now has a record of 26 wins and 5 losses, with 20 of those wins by knockout. In the undercard, Japan's Yoshiki Takei successfully defended his WBO World Bantamweight title with a unanimous decision victory over fellow countryman Daigo Higa. This was Takei's first defense since winning the title from Australia's Jason Maloney in May. Fans in the US have been eagerly waiting for Naoya Inoue, Japan's boxing superstar, to return to fight on American soil, and it looks like it's finally going to happen early next year, according to Bob Arum. This announcement came just after Inoue, also known as the Monster, delivered yet another dominant performance, this time against Doheny, who, like many before him, couldn't withstand Inoue's power. Inoue hasn't fought in the US since June 2021, and some critics have used this as a point against him, claiming he's been too comfortable staying in Japan to fight. But considering Inoue is a massive star in his home country, consistently drawing sellout crowds, it's hard to blame him for wanting to stay where his fan base is strongest. Another criticism that's been thrown at Inoue, often by those who seem to want to see him lose, is the idea that he needs to move up in weight to featherweight or beyond. This argument seems a bit unreasonable, especially when you consider that Inoue won his first world title in just his 6th professional fight at light flyweight, a much lower weight class. Yet, there's still talk that he has to fight Tank Davis to prove himself further. There's been a lot of talk from people who are convinced that Gervonta Tank Davis would destroy Naoya Inoue if they ever fought. It's possible, given that Tank has won titles all the way up at 140 pounds, but let's focus on what's actually happening. Ignoring the critics, what's next for Inoue? Bob Arum mentioned that Inoue's upcoming fight in Las Vegas in 2025 will be a celebration. Before that, though, it looks like Inoue will have a mandatory fight against Sam Goodman in December in Tokyo. As for what comes after that, no, honestly, it doesn't really matter. Inoue has now reached a level where he can pretty much fight anyone, and the crowds will still pack in to see him. He's in that elite group of fighters like Ali, Tyson, and Mayweather, who draw massive attention, no matter who they face. Of course, Inoue still needs to perform and take on challengers that seem tough, but he's earned the right to take on fights where he knows he'll win. That being said, there are still a few potential big fights that could challenge him when he makes his 3rd appearance in Vegas. Naoya Inoue might eventually move up to the featherweight division, but before that happens, he's likely to have a few more fights at 122 pounds. Looking ahead to a possible fight in Las Vegas in April or May of 2025, there are 3 potential opponents that could be lined up for him. Murodjon Akhmadaliev. Akhmadaliev is Inoue's next mandatory challenger and a former champion. He's even gone so far as to say that Inoue is afraid to fight him. If this fight takes place, It would be a huge draw for U.S. fans, as both fighters would be at the top of their game. Junto Nakatani. When Bob Arum mentioned a celebration, he might have been hinting at a potential showdown between Inoue and Nakatani, the current WBC bantamweight champion. Many fans are eager to see these two Japanese stars face off, and it could be one of the biggest fights in Japanese boxing history. The big question is whether this fight should happen in Japan, or if Arum has something else in mind for Las Vegas. Move to featherweight. Inoue could also decide to move up to featherweight next. If he does, taking on any of the current champions at 126 pounds would be a major event, marking an impressive return to Las Vegas. Regardless of who Inoue fights next, whether it's his upcoming fight or the one after that, fans who admire his power, skill, and intelligence in the ring will definitely be watching. Inoue is considered by many to be the best fighter in the world right now. If anyone disagrees, it would be tough to find a single weakness in the monster's game to argue otherwise. Naoya, the monster. Inoue is truly in a league of his own. His fights are never boring, and even in his fourth weight class, he's performing at the highest level. Inoue is a quiet but relentless force in the ring, always bringing action and excitement. Though he's a small 122-pound fighter, his elite boxing skills and natural power make him capable of stopping anyone. His recent victory over the tough and talented TJ Doheny is just another example of how Inoue continues to dismantle every opponent in his path. As he continues to carve out an incredible career, fans are left wondering who's next on his list. Fights against contenders like Sam Goodman and Murodjon Akhmadaliev are on the horizon and would be thrilling matchups. Promoter Bob Arum has hinted that Inoue could soon be fighting in Las Vegas, a city notorious for its challenges to outsiders. Arum needs to tread carefully when bringing his prized fighter to Sin City. There's also talk of Inoue possibly moving up to 126 pounds, which would be his fifth weight class, but that's not a certainty. The physical disadvantages at that weight would be significant, and Inoue has said he'll only make the move if his body tells him it's the right time. While Manny Pacquiao was able to move up 8 weight classes, Manny is a once-in-a-lifetime fighter. Inoue has the skills, but would need to sharpen his defense at a higher weight. No matter what weight class Inoue decides to fight in, watching him is always a pleasure. He's a special fighter who takes risks, challenges himself, and showcases beautiful all-around skills. His youthful personality and excitement make him a fan favorite. Although he's been getting hit more lately due to the tough southpaw styles he's faced, Inoue is constantly looking to improve. He strives for perfection, always testing himself and finding ways to win. If he can move to 126 and maintain his success, he'll solidify his status as one of the all-time greats. The monster is truly a scary force in boxing.